reason why the Sunset doesn't get safe access. City Hall, the police commission, the rent board aren't particularly interested in whether your ailment is getting better, made better by cannabis, or what your ailment is. So we're here to try to let these folks know that the Sunset is an area that does consist of medical cannabis patients and does benefit from having a dispensary where people will not have to go from one part of town to another part of town just to be able to get safe access to their medicine. All right. I do believe that you guys all have been able to interact enough with Greg and with Ed to know that these people are compassionate caregivers. They are concerned about their patients, and they're not particularly into it for any monetary gain. So that's even more reason for us to get out tomorrow and pack this courtroom and let these folks realize that this is a concern that folks should take into consideration rather than be in the old school and feel that it's not supposed to be in their neighborhood. Because the liquor store is in their neighborhood, I feel that they should look at that on the same terms as a liquor store being in their neighborhood. And not even a liquor store, to tell you the truth. I even stand corrected. More like a pharmacy being put in their neighborhood. I think Walgreens probably have to go through food changes to get their pharmacy put in the neighborhood. I think that Greg and Ed has gone through well more than enough for them to turn around and be able to open up their pharmacy and serve their community in the Sunset. The Sunset is something like, what, 16,000 people?
No, it's in the newspaper today, man. I don't have, as Damon tells you, everyone's breakdown of racism in each area.
Well, I would imagine 16 to 18,000 people live.
I think it's a lot more. I think it's more than accurate.
And maybe even more than that. And per capita, I do believe that there's only 3 dispensaries in that area. Now, could this mention something that is kind of the Achilles heel to the Sunset, and that is the first thing that they want to throw in our face is, well, if there's any patients out there in the Sunset, let them use the delivery service. Anybody can turn around and have a get-and-go operation that throws a bunch of medicine at you at a cheap price and then don't care where you go and what you do or how you do it. But there's a difference between a dispensary and a care facility. And that's where I think the people of the Sunset is mistaken, because this is going to be a care facility, whereas there may have been places in that area that are just in, quote, the industry. You know, these are things that need to be brought out. However, you're kind of, we're beaten to the band right now. I mean, everybody here understands why there's a need to have safe access in the Sunset. What we're supposed to be there to do is to educate those that don't know why we do what we do every Tuesday and Thursday. A lot of the fears that the folks in the Sunset have to be put to rest, and understand that we are a community of law-abiding patients that would like to turn around and put back into whatever community that we are part of. If anybody deserves to have a place in the Sunset to serve that community, it's these 2 people here. You guys know, well, some know by Chef. I call him Ed, but you guys give it up for Ed, y'all, please.
Hey. I just got out of the rain, as you guys see, so thanks for letting me be here. Tomorrow's another day with Board of Appeals. You guys always show up. You guys have always been there for us, and something we'll never forget. We know who helps us and who doesn't. Tomorrow, the focus, you guys all know there's the Board of Appeals tomorrow, right?
Right.
5:30, I believe, Greg? Is that?
Yep.
5:30, same time, same place. Any questions you guys don't
Yeah, I
have?
got a question real quick. If you just said Board of Appeals, which name, place station, which is it?
Board of Appeals.
Okay, so it's Board of Appeals, and so what is the final analysis on what's going to happen tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow it's going to just be a formality. They're more than likely going to not allow our rehearing, meaning we had to formally request a rehearing. David Chu, the board president, told me straight up to my face, Ed, you got to sue the city. Plain and simple, it's called selective enforcement.
Yep.
You guys know what selective enforcement is, right?
I have no idea.
Okay, well, the fact of the matter is that it's all right to open up a dispensary here in a 9th and Mission or in Soma, but not in the Sunset, because that's a whole different city. Last time I looked, this is one whole fucking city.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Right? And we've complied with all the planning, all of the regulations, all the applications, did everything right. This is just Carmen through trying to make a point on saving the children. Last thing I remember is I let kids in my dispensary at the age of 15 or 16 years old. And they're accusing us of pre-crime, meaning we know that cannabis dispensaries do not bring crime. Selective enforcement. Okay? So you guys are all great speakers. I've heard every one of you speak in front of the microphone. You guys are the best speakers by far, always there, right? And the message, however you want to present it, is this city should not tolerate selective enforcement. This city knows for a fact there is no crime associated with medical cannabis dispensaries. The crime is not to allow a medical cannabis dispensary for patients in the Sunset.
I mentioned earlier, Ed, was the fact that the Asian, well, the different kinds of medications other than the stuff that people get from pharmacies, you know, the herbal medicines, the homeopathic kinds of medicines that people all over the world of different cultures have used for thousands of years. You know, our culture, our FDA, whatever, didn't recognize a lot of these things until they had been checked out to be, you know, to work.
Right.
And so the ignorance was across a broad spectrum. So, you know, the ignorance has to be eliminated. So people have to know. I think a lot of people that are newly citizens, they're so wanting to obey the laws of the United States that when they see that marijuana is illegal for most of the United States, maybe they're afraid to be associated with it because they're afraid of losing what out there? Maybe they're afraid of losing their citizenship or their green card.
Back in 2003, we were sold a bill of goods of weapons of mass destruction, and we went to war for that. This is Carmen Chu's weapons of mass destruction. She's never been able to galvanize the community, so this is what she's chosen to try and galvanize. It's been a free punch for her. In other words, it doesn't cost her anything. She doesn't lose any street cred by going after a medical cannabis dispensary.
Is she going to be there?
She will just be watching on television, watching her machinations go on
Why
television.
does she have to be there? I mean, for us to be
She's not on the appeals board.
She's not on the appeals board, but her machinations have caused our planning permit to be up.
What do you mean by machination?
Meaning she's pulling puppetry. I mean, she's pulling her political strings. What we're asking the Board of Appeals to do is to allow a rehearing based on new evidence found prior to their Board of Appeals overturning our permit.
Right.
So this is basically, we know, or I shouldn't know, but it's an unforeseen conclusion that they're going to deny our request for a rehearing at the Board of Appeals. But we have to have all of our ducks in a row, because like Shona says, retreat is not in our DNA. Okay? So we're going to sue the city. We're going to sue the city for selective enforcement. But I have to show that I've done this correctly.
Due diligence.
You got to do diligence.
Paper trail.
Exactly.
Because
Because the judge is going to throw it back and say, well, how come you didn't ask for a rehearing?
you didn't file an appeal?
Yeah, I filed the appeal.
Right, that was
Yeah.
chain of command that you have to do.
Yeah. So you see where we're at. I mean, we're not going away.
That's right.
As Greg calls it, pot odds. We play poker, we put enough money in the pot already, you know, and this is pot, you know, for people, so.
So the move after this court date will be what?
Superior Court with what's called an administrative writ.
How
So
far?
when is the lawsuit going to be? Sorry, when is the lawsuit going to be announced? Tomorrow?
And you are at whim to be able to tell your city appeals board members what is the reason you're spending so much of the city's time and money when we don't have any money fiscally, right? We need money for schools, but here's a gentleman, Greg Shep, that's legitimately put all of the planning, all the regulations, all the applications, all correctly enforced for mere political reasons to mollify Carmen Chu and her political aspirations. This is what's going on. I don't think personally against Carmen Chu, it's just politics, and she's just used Bach as a political means to win over the Chinese community. It doesn't, and I'm not going to say.
So we're not going to allow medical marijuana to be a stepping stone in somebody's political agenda.
That's correct.
And somebody's political ladder to
yes,
political aspirations.
And I heard a doctor say it best the other day. He said if cannabis would have been found in the Amazon a week ago, it'd be the most amazing plant ever found known to man. Right? But it's been persecuted for a reason, and this is just part of persecution. Okay, and this is essentially, we are still a minority in this arena. We're all minorities as patients. This is the majority trying to exercise their whim on a minority. It's a classic struggle.
But are they really the majority?
Not really.
I often think that a lot of these public officials are unelectable. I mean, if they're aspiring to be public officials, they're unelectable if they're against cannabis.
Selective enforcement, fiscal irresponsibility. Okay, two topics. Cool. Great, guys. Thank you.
You'd like to keep us there all night long, too.
Well, that's fine. We were there last time till 3 o'clock in the morning, and we didn't go away.
We're not the type to just go away if we're put on the back burner and we're the last agenda item on their agenda.
Right. This is a huge issue. It's not just about Bach. It's about neighborhoods being able to decide our fate, not us having access to medical cannabis. That's huge. That's gigantic. That's humongous. That is so critical. You know, so it's not just about one collective. We love Ed. We love Greg. Absolutely. But this is about the fact that a neighborhood can decide whether or not people in that neighborhood have safe access, and that is discrimination. That is a violation of civil rights.